Am I the butthole for not paying for my daughter's wedding and university? When my children were born, my husband and I were determined to put aside money for their university/wedding/lives. We are not particularly well off but managed to scrape together almost $30,000 for each of our children by the time they were mid-teens. When our daughter, 24, was 17-18, she became involved in a very cliquey group of wealthy girls who were constantly showing off to each other. Long story short, but in an effort to impress these girls, our daughter committed identity fraud against me in order to open several credit cards and buy a car. She had no job and no way of paying the almost $45,000 of debt she incurred. My husband and I declined to press charges against her, but we wound up with $45,000 of debt that we couldn't afford to pay off. We ended up having to use the money set aside for our children's futures. We made it clear to our daughter at the time that she would no longer have that nest egg and that she would have to pay us back for the $15,000 taken from her brother's future nest egg. She got a job at a fast food place, went to therapy, did everything we asked, and turned into a respectable adult. She never went to university but has worked her way up to being faux manager for a small restaurant, and we are proud she has turned her life around. Our son turned 18 in January. He was supposed to go away to university in England this year but ended up taking a gap year instead because of COVID. As promised, we gave him the $30,000 and he has put most of it into a fund for university and future traveling and spent the remaining $4,000 on a car so he could get to his job. He works at a plumbing store. Our daughter came home for the first time since before COVID to tell us she was getting married to her boyfriend of 3 years. We were super excited and thrilled to see her. However, when she saw her brother's car in the driveway, she asked how he bought it, and my husband reminded her of the fund. Long story short, she is now upset that we have given her brother $30,000 despite being reminded about what she did and how much it cost us. She is now demanding that if we want to be invited to her wedding, then we have to give her an amount equal to her brother. Honestly, we are heartbroken. We simply cannot afford to give her that kind of money even if we wanted to, and we thought she understood our position. I feel like a terrible mother for letting her down, but my husband is resolute that we did the right thing. We are the buttholes here? Edit. I should make it clear, as I see comments assuming otherwise. She did pay back the $15,000 for her brother's nest egg. NTA, you already gave her that money, plus a $15,000 loan. This she decided to spend her share early trying to show off to her friends. Now she's got to live with the consequences. It's not like you refuse to support her, she just isn't getting extra money. She'll be fine. Someone should tell the fool who is marrying her. Prenuptial. Wrap up a copy of you declining to take her to court to get your dollar back. Wrap it up with a card saying, "Congratulations on your new life." She shouldn't be having a wedding during a pandemic anyway. Have it in your backyard with immediate family and she can register for cash in lieu of gifts. Then stream the reception. WTH? You make amazing points, but I'll point out that getting engaged during a pandemic is not like getting married during a pandemic. Weddings can take a couple years to plan. That apparently hasn't stopped other people in this sub who think they absolutely have to get married this year. Some of those plans were made in 2019, and in many cases, booking venues and caterers were non-refundable. It's not unreasonable for people to balk at the idea of lighting $20,000 on fire and instead trying to cut the invite list and proceed as safe as possible. It's hard to pay for 2 weddings and only get one. Edit. Capitalize the point y'all are missing. If it means only 10 people in a 200-person venue. Fine. You already booked it, and TBF those 10 people were more than likely already in your circle anyhow. There have been people who were selfish and went ahead with big weddings that resulted in COVID breakouts. Personally, I would turn down an invite to a large wedding because it's not worth the risk. Couples can get married now and have a big party if we ever get over this plague. We've had to turn down 2 wedding invitations that we would have loved to go to under any other circumstances. Both were big weddings several states away. I can't say I blame them for still having the weddings they already paid for, but for the love of God, do it safely. We've had to turn down 2 wedding invitations that we would have loved to go to under any other circumstances. You did the right thing. How did the couples react? I've seen posts where brides were going nuts and calling people selfish for not attending because of COVID. Fair enough if you want to go through with your wedding, but don't guilt people over being cautious. It's also important to note that not everyone on this sub lives in the dumpster fire that is the US as well. There were plenty of places in the world where a moderate gathering of close family and friends for a wedding was perfectly safe this summer thanks to strict lockdowns. I agree that large wedding receptions should not happen this year, but I refuse to blame people for going ahead and actually getting married. I wasn't talking about people who made their plans last year. I meant the people who got engaged in March/April and decided they had to get married this fall. There have been several posts where the engagement began in 2020. Not everyone who got married this year did it big. I got married last Weds. Had a total of 6 people including myself, my husband, the officiant, and 3 others. Everyone was outside in the open 6 feet apart minus me and the hubby and in masks. Not everyone who gets married has a giant wedding, and not everyone who got married this year was selfish and stupid. The people that always whine about selfishness, couple that always want a big wedding, seem to forget that you can have a small wedding during COVID and still whine about big weddings. You can't win. I just know no one got sick from mine. In a few years, likely when COVID is gone, we plan on finally actually having a party with my family since they couldn't come cause COVID and they are states away. We're not even doing the wedding party, reception, whatever until it's over. Or our honeymoon. People just assume people are selfish and only care about themselves. I can sleep at night knowing I married the man I love and no big wedding will make our love better. But knowing that no one got sick and no one will die to it sure does. Also, judging by the language in this post, these people are likely in Australia, where it's relatively under control and most cities enjoy a mostly pre-COVID lack of restrictions, so things like weddings, birthdays, etc. can be celebrated normally with no risk. This is because most Australians took it seriously, locked down and stopped the spread. But hey, y'all enjoy that freedom and crap you keep yammering about. I mean, if you're gay and in America, there are a lot of people who have been rushing to get married this year. That's because there's now 3 Supreme Court justices who have openly stated that they want to overturn gay marriage / not force people who it's against their religion to give marriage licenses to people who are gay. So there are some very valid reasons for people to rush to get married this year in hopes of being grandfathered in if the thing allowing us to get married gets overturned / revoked. But I don't really see any other valid reasons to rush unless it's for school / insurance benefits. Duh, you did your best. What I did, kind of. 6 people total including myself and the husband and the officiant. 3 others outside, masks 6 feet apart in a huge field. Even more than that, original post didn't press charges despite wrecking their credit. Original post should have pressed charges. Either way, if this troublemaker doesn't invite you to the wedding, it's time to cut ties. She might not be as terrible as she was before, but she's an adult now and still a terrible person. She's not going to be anything other than a financial and emotional drain on you and your husband and will destroy your mental health. You pay for her wedding, who do you think is going to pay to raise her future children? It won't be her, it will be you. NTA. Go full no contact if you're not allowed at the wedding and cut her out of your will. People are so quick to suggest going no contact. It's incredibly difficult to cut people out you love. Yes, the daughter is being selfish and inconsiderate here, but she should be given a chance to get over that. She has shown in the past she can change and accept responsibility. This is a lapse in judgment and I wouldn't be so quick to throw her away. I don't think these people have children. The parents did the right thing by holding her accountable, encouraging her to go to therapy. She's only 24 now. That's very young and she's still forming. She sounds like she has emotional issues related to peer influence. We don't know the full family dynamic from a few paragraphs either. Mom should invite her to do family counseling. Rationally, we know that it's right her brother got the $30,000 and could afford a car. She's not being rational, she's being emotional. Seeing her brother get the car probably made her feel jealous. She's realizing now the full ramifications of her past actions. She is absolutely behaving like an butthole, but when her emotions settle she might see things differently. If she really does cut her parents out of the wedding, then she will be the one nailing shut her relationship with her parents. Hopefully she gets her crap together and realizes what an ass she is being right now. Emotions are tricky and I agree she needs counseling. She absolutely does not deserve money towards her wedding and she needs to come to terms with that. She's 24, she should do her own counseling. If she isn't aware of the seriousness of what she did by now, I very much doubt her sense of entitlement will ever wear off. Not putting up with her ridiculous behavior might save her bae friend from a nasty bullet, assuming he is normal. Your mention of ramifications just made me wonder about the car she brought under her mother's name. Do you think it got repossessed? They still ended up paying $45,000. Was that in addition to the car? That's very young and she's still forming. If that's the case, she probably has no business getting married in the first place. Wait until she's fully formed. Problem solved. She sounds like she has emotional issues related to peer influence. Yes, personal responsibility isn't a thing, even for grown adults. Yes, 24 is a grown adult. I'd been working in my career for years at that point and purchased my own home. Can we please stop infantilizing adults? And as an adult, if she needs counseling to get past her issues, it's on her to do that. At what point does she magically become responsible for her own behavior? As a teen, she got a pass and didn't get charged with a felony. Now she's an adult and still gets a pass for being selfish? Why? That felony charge would have ruined her life. Her parents did her a huge favor and she has zero appreciation for that, apparently. They endured ruined credit and heartbreak at what she'd done, I'm sure, to save her future, and she kicks them aside like they've done nothing for her because her brother got a cheap used car. She clearly did not learn her lesson. Not to mention, if she can't afford a wedding, she shouldn't have one until she can. That's how adulthood works, you have to work to pay for the things you want. Clearly, despite having to pay back a fraction of the debt she incurred, she did not learn that lesson either. I agree with you that a more measured response makes sense. But I'm not sure that she ever took responsibility for what she did wrong. She paid her debt, which might have been a requirement of not getting prosecuted, but she doesn't seem to have an understanding of what the money actually means. Like it's all abstract for her. It makes me nervous. Trying to extort money from your parents is also not a good look. But she should be given a chance to get over that. She's had years to come to terms with what she did. She apparently didn't. This is a lapse in judgment. Seems like this is a pattern for her, not a one-time lapse in judgment. You know, this and the felony identified theft and credit card fraud she committed. If someone continually acts selfish, it's not a leap to say they're a selfish person. Might not have caused a credit problem if the fraud was caught soon enough. Sounds like they paid it all up front with the college money. It likely went to collections, that's how most are found out. I hope original post explains better. You can find out about new lines of credit being opened in your name with any of those credit monitoring tools. Which, realistically, aren't an incredibly common thing for most people to use until they've been bitten. As most cost money, except for the free yearly check, with which you can open, max out, and make delinquent a lot of credit lines in that year. Yeah, she's attempting to extort money with the threat of no invite. I hope original post doesn't go to the wedding. I wish we could get the daughter's rationale for why she should get an additional $30,000. Something is not right in her head. NTA remind her she could be in a prison right now for her actions and has already spent 150% of her funds. In Oklahoma, the penalty for each identity theft charge is 3 years to life. If she was charged with each fraudulent card in the car, the daughter might have gotten a decent-sized sentence. Agree. Why does the daughter deserve extra money for breaking the law? She spent her nest put her parents in debt and then holds a wedding invitation over their heads when she should be in prison. She sounds like such a brat, like she's still in the teenage phase demanding more money. This exactly. NTA, she made her bed and now she's having to lie in it. She's lucky you didn't press charges. She got off very lightly and is being completely unrealistic in expecting more money from you. Prenuptial, boy. And hurry. Give the fiancé an engagement gift, a subscription to one of those credit monitoring services. Dollars to donuts. I bet her fiancé knows nothing about her $45,000 indiscretion. Do you guys think the parents should mention Op's daughter's financial history to the soon-to-be husband? On one hand, it's overstepping. On the other hand, she sure as hell didn't tell him, and he's 99% she'll do what she did to the parents to him. I'm leaning towards they should tell him what he's getting into. He would want to know why she doesn't want her parents to come. If he's smart, he would shake her down for the history behind their absence. Her version will make her folks TAs. They need to stay out of the mess she's making. Most of the money she earns throughout the rest of her life will be thanks to you because you didn't press charges and she escaped having a felony on her record. You essentially are still giving her thousands every year that she works. NTA. NTA, and that is emotional blackmail that she is putting on you. Please don't fall for it and stand your ground. I'd go so far to say it's extortion. She previously committed identity and credit card fraud, now she's using extortion to try to get more money. Maybe she didn't learn any lesson after all. Definitely do not back down. I agree. And if the daughter has children, there will be a random to pay for access to them. Stay strong, op, you can't afford it. Buy me a wedding, or else. Buy me a car, or else. Buy me a house, or else. NTA. NTA. Call her bluff. Take the disinvitation with grace and say that you're sorry to miss the wedding, but you did the right thing. And stick to it, although I know it would break your heart. Remain loving but firm. She's certainly not turned into a good person if she doesn't regret harming you the way she did and going back to you feeling entitled and trying to manipulate you into pleasing her demands. Put your foot down once again now, do not open this gate with a future flow of her demands. This. Exactly. And every time she interrupts or counter-argues, just say the exact same thing, I'm so sorry we'll miss the wedding. Hope it goes well for you. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.